The best views come after the hardest climb. It's a famous quote applied best to life, but as Bitcoin for over 10 years has defied and confounded critics in its own climb to parabolic gains, that quote might best apply to the macro charts as we zoom out and get an amazing view on Bitcoin. What is up, everyone? Thanks for coming by Crypto Capital Venture. Hit that subscribe on the way in if you're not a subscriber, and let's jump into this macro Bitcoin video. I get excited because the macro charts are where it's at. I mean, if you want perspective, if you want to get an idea of what you should be doing in these markets, I know it's tempting to go to that hourly, the 6 hour, but this is where it's at, everybody. This is zoomed out. This is the Brave New Coin. It's 24 hours behind the Brave New Coin Liquid Index chart. You can see the price is a little lower than what Bitcoin is trading at currently, but this is for perspective. The link to this chart that I basically explain is in the description below. I charted this back in, I think, December 2018, somewhere in this area right here. And it really lays out a lot of technicals, long-term technicals. And what happened is I tweeted yesterday, and I said, Bitcoin has only closed 2 green monthly candles above $11,000 in its entire history. Similarly, by February 2017, Bitcoin has only closed 2 green monthly candles above $1,000. We have a very good idea of what happens next. Now, that is why I wanted to do this macro video. There's so many videos, including mine, going around YouTube because Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, the prices have been going crazy up and down, and many people anticipating the next move. So we're zoomed in on the charts all the time, but I have to cover the zoomed out charts because, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, that is where the view is. That is where you can actually take a deep breath, evaluate your situation, evaluate your portfolios, make a decision of what's going on and what you want to do next. Anticipate things better when you have a beautiful, clear view of the situation. And this is Bitcoin on the monthly chart. So I referenced, on that monthly tweet talking about, Bitcoin put in this close above 11,000 for the first time, the second time, similar to how Bitcoin put in this first close in February 2017 above $1,000 for the second time, right? Obviously the bull market high 2013 was the first time, but before going on to those parabolic gains, and there's a very similar charts, I should say, happening right now. And this is where we are. And I want to just preface everything I'm saying by telling you, everybody, a 30% dip is very possible. I tweeted this yesterday too. If you bought more Bitcoin now, the worst that would probably happen is you lose 30% in a dip, short term. This is my opinion, by the way. If you don't buy more Bitcoin now, the worst that can happen is you miss out on 1,000% gains for the long term. And I very much believe that. I could be way wrong, right? We could all be so wrong. This could be it, everybody. Bitcoin could top out at $11,870 right now, and that could be the highest it ever goes, and we're back to $250 by next spring, right? Come on, if you don't realize that there is a risk of that happening, then you might be lying to yourself. I think a lot of us don't really think that's going to happen, and we're analyzing our own risks, right, and our own risk rewards and our tolerances, but there's always risk. So just be mindful of that. But when we're looking at the upward momentum that Bitcoin has right now on these charts, it is not only similar to what was going on right here before the last bull run, right? It's not only similar to that, it's a little better. And I think that's really bullish. And I'm going to break down why that is. So on this monthly chart zoomed out, what we have is very simple. The 2012 halving, the 2016 halving, and the 2020 halving. And if we kind of go and we dig into this a little bit, we start looking at time frames and getting more context to where Bitcoin is right now. So we have a Fibonacci retracement channel right here. That I talk about all the time on this channel. You might be annoyed, or not annoyed, but sick of hearing about it. I don't know, because I chart it all the time, but it's the bull market high to the bear market low. It is the biggest area of resistance. If you want Bitcoin to get to 20,000, $50,000, $100,000. This is one of the biggest areas, I truly believe, of resistance. It's a confirmation of the bull market beginning. That is the 618 to the 786. I've been calling it the doorway to the bull market. Now, on these monthly charts, it's a huge area of reference because the same thing happened last time where we had the swing high to swing low into that Fibonacci retracement, right? So we are getting very close to testing that channel again. So from a time frame perspective, this Fibonacci retracement channel that I talk about all the time, and some of you might be sick of hearing it, is one of the best and clearest reference points, data points on the screen that we have that can confirm what you want and what I want and what many people want the bull market to begin, right? We want to see that confirmation. That's why I'm using that area. Now, in using that area, we say, okay, the strength of Bitcoin from this area was huge back then, right? We can go over to a weekly chart and we can see right around let's actually see the date of, let's see Bitcoin really staying above that Fibonacci channel, March 2017. So March 2017 on this chart was right around here. So from that area to what Bitcoin did following, right? Bitcoin saw, and we can call it around 2,000% gains to the bull market high. Now, I'm not sitting here saying the same thing is going to happen, but we measure those gains and the momentum that was allowed Bitcoin to do that, right? And then we say, okay, what does Bitcoin look like now? And we go back to this monthly chart and we can chart it and we can see. So let's take this price range once again from that March area. Let's put it here. Let's do, so this is right around, let's bring this down to the wick, right around 2,000% gains. And we can zoom out and now we look at the momentum oscillators, because that's what I'm talking about in this video, everybody. The potential for Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin did that and made that breakout, you can see Bitcoin was actually coming out on the monthly chart, remember, coming down from overbought, revisiting right around the 70 area or so to go and make those 2,000% gains, right? That's where Bitcoin was when that was happening. Bitcoin currently is right around 60 or so on this monthly momentum oscillator. Another thing to note, if I zoom out a little bit, this oscillator right here, let me expand it, in the middle is the stock RSI, quicker moving momentum oscillator. Bitcoin overbought for months here, right, prior to the 2016 halving, and still putting in 2,000% gains towards the end here. Bitcoin hasn't been overbought since, this was back in last summer. So Bitcoin on the rise right now with so much upward momentum. And you can just very clearly see, zooming out on these charts, I don't even have to break it down very much for you. There's so much upward momentum and upward potential for Bitcoin on the RSI and on this stock RSI here. And Bitcoin hasn't even broken the Fibonacci retracement, the bull market confirmation area yet. So am I sitting here saying that Bitcoin is going to put in 2,000% gains after breaking the Fibonacci? No, because I think that would bring us to it would bring us to a $328,000 Bitcoin. That's really not my target for this next bull run. However, we know, right, across the board, every swing high that Bitcoin has, the gains get a little less. The parabolic gains to this area back in 2013 were crazy. They got a little less this time around, and they're going to get a little less the next time around, whether it be right around here, $100,000 area or so. The gains will be less. From a Fibonacci retracement standpoint, when the bull market's confirmed, we're talking potentially 500, 600, 700% gains for Bitcoin the next time around. I know many of you are talking about $200,000 Bitcoin, $250,000 Bitcoin. I believe there's a lot of people actually anticipating a $250,000 Bitcoin. That's all good. It could happen. I'm not going to say it can't, but this is kind of my target. And that target, again, explained right here on this long-term parabolic chart of Bitcoin. The explanation to this is in the description below. But Bitcoin right now is right here on the weekly chart. This is back in, I would say, a couple months after post-halving 2016. And again, what I want to illustrate for you on this chart is the weekly oscillators. So the momentum, once again, instead of the monthly, but on the weekly, you can see Bitcoin right here at this 70 line, right? Getting ready to break through the Fibonacci retracement back then into the bull market right around here, and comes into overbought, comes back down, and we have a lot of reference now at the 70 area on the Bitcoin charts, because every time Bitcoin broke above the 70 area on these charts, on the weekly charts, that was the parabolic move that we had over and over again. So what I'm talking about is those moves that you enjoy and I enjoy in Bitcoin. And we saw back in 2017, right here, for instance, 100-some% gain before a retracement. Those moves are essentially Bitcoin coming into that overbought area before getting that like 30, 40% dip. And they keep happening. So those really strong bursts of Bitcoin right around the 70 line is when they began. So right now, Bitcoin is at that 70 line, and we are on the weekly charts putting in a potential to start approaching that monthly Fibonacci retracement that we just talked about, the confirmation of the bull market. It's really $13,000 to $12,000 or $13,000 to $16,000. That's the area Bitcoin might fast approach. And you can see what it will look like on this oscillator here. It's Bitcoin breaking through the 70 line, going into overboughts. Potentially that is what it looks like before coming back down. Maybe that would look like Bitcoin coming back down and testing that Fibonacci retracement. So that Fibonacci retracement on this weekly chart is pretty much like right around here, $16,000 down to around $13,000. So Bitcoin breaking through that bull market confirmation after we get some support above that area. That's what we're looking for. And really, my point to this entire video is, if you're looking at the weekly charts, if you're looking at these monthly charts, if you open up the oscillators, Bitcoin has so much upward momentum, and the possibilities really are endless for Bitcoin price from here on out, right? So this entire area can be broken. That bull market confirmation, Fibonacci retracement, that resistance area can be broken very quickly with a ton more upside. So what does that upside look like? Again, nobody knows. 100,000, 70,000, 250,000. Nobody knows. But if you zoom out on the charts, there's a lot of momentum in store and ready for Bitcoin to take advantage of. But I do want to just let you know, once again, because I don't like to make too bullish of videos, 30% dips happen all the time. Even with where Bitcoin is right now, seeing resistance at $12,000, a dip like that would not be the end of Bitcoin. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. A 30% dip from right around Bitcoin is right now, we're talking right around that 50-week moving average, $8,500. I'm not sitting here telling you I think it's going to happen, but I like to be realistic, and I like to have everybody, each and every one of you, anticipate every scenario. We can't get overhyped in these markets. We have to, especially if we're long, we have to, integrate patience into our approach. That's at least my opinion. So those are my thoughts, everybody. I wanted to break it down for you. I hope I explained everything well enough for you to understand. Long story short, there is a ton of upward momentum. The canvas on the screen is ready if Bitcoin chooses to see those parabolic gains. The momentum is there. Bitcoin is not overbought on these macro charts, and it is a really nice view. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments. What do you think Bitcoin's going to do next? What do you think the all-time high will be? I'm very curious to know your thoughts. If you're here and not a subscriber, hit the subscribe, hit that like on the way out, and I will see you in the next video. God bless.